Hi, this is Trey Pastor. Welcome to my review with spoilers of Stargirl Season 3, Episode 1. This is one of my favorite shows on the CW. I'm glad to, I've been watching it from the beginning when it was actually on the DC Universe show before they moved it to CW. And then, then it's on HBO Max. Just a whole bunch of complicated stuff. But anyway, this review, like I said, it's going to be with spoilers in it. Like I said, I'm looking forward to this show. And now this season, the theme is called Frenemies, which is a term, you have a friend that's not really a friend, but it's and not quite an enemy. So it's frenemies. And if you've been watching the show, kind of know what that means. Okay, the show kind of opens up with Jakeem, rolling through town, and they're blasting "Coming to America," Neil Diamond. And it's a really, nice, you're going through, I'm going to say Hill Valley, Blue Valley, and seeing. And of course, the family, Pat and Courtney and Mike and Barbara, they're off on a vacation and they're coming back to town. And we're seeing all the people in town. We're seeing Cindy walking through town and trying to help an old lady, actually with her package, because remember, at the end of last season, she wanted to join the JSA. So I guess she's acting towards that end by trying to be a good person. Okay, and we see Yolanda, she's coming from church, and you see her kind of spying spying Cindy, and they're really frenemies, just due to their shared history and stuff. If you've been watching season 1 and 2, you know their shared history. Okay, so that's a nice real pairing right there of frenemies. And we see somebody's fixing up the house. The house where Pat and Barbara lives, and then when they come home, there's Sylvester there saying, "Welcome home, Star Family," and you see them come in the house, and you see that he's basically, because remember there was the whole accident in the house, and he's basically rebuilt the kitchen and stuff, and Pat is, Pat's there, and okay, he's looking slimmer, believe it or not, and we also see the Crocs are next door. They moved in. They're trying to be, they're reformed too, with her daughter Artemis, okay, who actually wants to join the JSA as well. That's another thing that's happening in this episode. She wants to join the JSA, which is, like I said, you have former enemies that are now trying to be friends. So that's hence the term frenemies, okay. And of course, we see the Shade there as well. Remember last season he actually helped. He started off as sort of an antagonist, but he kind of turned into by helping them, like all the villains that came together at the end to defeat the one big villain they had last season. And so now you see the Shade in the local diner trying to get just that perfect bit of tea from the waitress. And that's a nice little comment. I love the actor who plays the Shade. He's just really a really good charismatic actor, and it's good to to have him sticking around. Okay, and also we see that Sylvester has built a case for their staff, and and of course Courtney is feeling sort of insecure that he's still around, and she knows that even though he said last season, at the end of last season when they defeated Eclipso, that she should be the new star person going forward, she still kind of feels insecure about it, and she thinks that he kind of wants it back, and he's trying to assure her that no, he just he thought when he first came that Pat was to have the staff and that would be it. But he saw what she did last season with it and stuff, and he feels that she's more than up to the task of being the new star person, or star girl in this case. Okay, and then we also have another person, another villain that actually enters the town. Now this episode is called The Murder, and I knew once this person came into town, I kind of had a feeling that he would be the person that would get murdered, but I'll get to that later. Anyway, the gambler, he's come back to town. He actually knocks on the door of Pat and Barbara, looking to talk to Courtney and Pat, and telling them that he wants to reform, he wants to turn over a new leaf, because he has a daughter that he didn't know he had, and he's trying to reconnect with her, and he's telling her, that he wasn't there for her birth and all that stuff, and you can tell that touches Courtney because of her situation with her own father. That it touches her that he wants to reconnect with his daughter and wants to reform. And like I said, Courtney is sort of a Pollyanna in that way. She kind of wants to believe the best in people, and so you could tell that story got to her, Pat is a little bit more skeptical, but you can tell it got to Courtney that he wants to reconnect with his daughter. Okay, and of course, like I said, the team doesn't really, or specifically Yolanda and especially and Mike, not Mike, excuse me, and Rick, they don't really trust the gambler. Okay, they don't really believe that he's here to reform. And actually, when they go out on patrol, they actually went into the gambler's old crew that he used, and just when they get ready to engage them, Artemis comes out of nowhere, and she basically handles them. She's a one-woman wrecking crew, and she handles them, and she goes Artemis 1, villain 0, and runs off. And you can tell she's the actress that plays Artemis is just hilarious, and she's really really good. And I would definitely like to see her join the JSA. And I got a feeling that her parents are kind of pushing it too as well. You can tell that they're kind of pushing it too. There even comes a point where Sportsmaster shows up to their house in the mornings fixing a smoothie, and he's actually tries to warn Pat that don't trust anything that the gambler says. That he calls him Kentucky Fried Felon. Don't believe anything he says. Okay, he's only in it for the money. Okay, and it's just great to see all these characters that were enemies in the first season. Now they're trying to coexist in this season, and hence the name, Frenemies. Okay, and of course, like I said, we still have Jakeem, and now we have a new. It's Seth Green now is doing the voice, because I know it was I forgot the guy who's a comedian that he did the voice of the I forgot the character, the pen, Thunderball, excuse me. That's right, the Thunderball. Now it's Seth Green doing the voice, and you hear a little bit of it, because when Jakeem is delivering mail to the Shade, and and he speaks and say, "Oh, that guy's creepy. That guy is Creepsville." So I'm looking forward to seeing Seth Green voice, the Thunderbolt this season. And basically now at the end of the season, like I said, Yolanda's still worried about Cindy. She's still throwing shade at her, and they're even trying to have a meeting at school, and so you still see that that combative energy between Yolanda, who doesn't trust Cindy at all, okay, and there's still friction between that, and they even say, and Mike even tells Courtney, he said, me and her, he tells her, listen, me and Yolanda voted not to have her in. It was only you and Beth that voted to allow her in. And speaking of Beth, Beth is going through a thing where her parents are now being extra clingy. They're trying to suggest costume changes to her, and you can tell. Remember, before she was overly protective towards them, she wanted to always be with them, and now they're being that way to her, which is kind of a nice flip the way it happens. Okay, and now the main gist of the story: you see Gambler, he's searching. You see him searching in his little trailer for his daughter. He's searching through the records trying to find his daughter, and he actually accidentally taps into a feed where you see basically all of Blue Valley is being monitored, and it even shows his little house, his little what do you call that stuff, trailer house, and he so he actually goes outside to try to investigate, see who's watching that, and then all of a sudden you see something. Well, you don't see it. Something attacks him, and then the next thing you know, where the team is are going to question the gambler, and because after they fought, well, they didn't fight. After Artemis took down some former associates of the gambler, they're going to to question him. But by the time they get there, they hear a shot, and then of course Cindy's there. Cindy's there, staying there above the wrecked trailer, and the gambler's laying there dead, and Cindy's saying, "I didn't do it." Okay, and of course Yolanda is giving her that skeptical eye in Courtney, and then that's how it goes off like that. So now we know that's the murder of the title. Okay, so it was a pretty good episode. Nice, nice welcome back to season, to all the characters that we've seen in the previous 2 seasons. The only character I think they didn't show, I'm trying to think if I remember this, if they showed the Icicle Jr. I'm trying to think if they showed him. I think they might have briefly. He wasn't in this episode. I'm trying to remember if they did show. I don't think they showed him in this episode. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking they didn't show it, because I'm trying to remember this from memory. We know last season he was discovering his ice powers, and it looked like his grandparents were going to tell him exactly why he has these powers, but we didn't see that. Um, but everything else, like I said, was pretty good. Like I said, we got to see Pat looks thinner. I like the actor. I guess he maybe lost some weight. He looks thinner. Uh, the whole team, and like I said, I'm interested in seeing the dynamic of the JSA because, like I said, oh yeah, that's another thing. Rick is still trying to resurrect Solomon Grundy. Like he took Shade's advice to bury him under a tree and all this other stuff, but still nothing's happened, and still Solomon Grundy hasn't come back. That's been his friend. So he wanted to kind of resurrect him after after what happened to him last season by Eclipso, how he died. He wanted to bring him back, but nothing's worked so far with Rick trying to resurrect Solomon Grundy. So that's not working. But like I said, we got to see a little bit of the gambler, and we got to see Courtney. Courtney, especially anything with a father thing. It got to her, and you were guessing whether the gambler was genuine or not. But we actually saw him in his private time. He was actually searching for his daughter, and he actually had a picture of her. So he seemed to be legitimately trying to find his daughter. Okay, and then of course he got murdered. So we don't know who murdered him. Obviously, it's not Sydney. That's too obvious, and so we know that's not that's not a real thing. That's not happening. So we know that she's not a suspect. But I suppose we'll be finding out next. Oh yeah, there was one other thing that I forgot to mention. The gambler actually walked into the restaurant where the Shade was having tea, and he tried to, I guess, parlay with him, and as using his words, trying to, I guess, tell him this. I'm here on a straight and narrow. I just want to find my daughter and stuff. I just want to see if we can have a truce. And basically, the Shade was telling him, just get out of town, because sooner or later, the JSA will run you out of town and catch you, or I will. And he gave him that dark look with the black eyes, and Gambler just buggered off. So we don't know exactly because we didn't see who actually killed the Gambler. So we're definitely gonna try to see who was the person that did it. Hopefully that'll be the mystery, because they said this season's supposed to be murder mystery. So I guess we'll find out eventually who actually killed the Gambler and why. Okay. But I think it was a pretty good episode overall. Like I said, we got to see Courtney, got to see the team in uniform, but not in action. We got to see Artemis, trying. I have a feeling that her parents kind of set that up so she could try to audition, so she can be part of the Crocs. Because they're trying real hard to fit in and stuff, and they're trying to actually. And I think that was in this episode. The mother came to Barbara's workplace and said, "Listen, my daughter really wants to join the JSA." And she was kind of telling her that Barbara was trying to tell her, "Listen, it's not up to me; it's up to them." And Tigress she just has this scowl on her face. It's just chilling. But I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out and who's the murderer and why they're murdering and and why did they murder the Gambler? Maybe because he found the cameras and stuff. Maybe that was the reason why. So we don't know who this. Well, I guess we'll know in the coming weeks who the suspects are. But anyway. Let me know what you think of this episode. Have you seen it? What do you think of it? I thought it was a nice premiere. Had a lot of moving parts. Introduced a lot of the characters. It's a lot of frenemies. That's the title in it. We got a lot of the frenemies in this episode. Okay, even the Gambler's old associates, the Crocs, and even the Shade. They kind of don't want nothing to do with them. It's crazy. But again, good episode. Good writing. Good acting. So I'm looking forward to season 3 and see what it entails and who's going to be the big bad, okay, for this season. I know Mr. Bones that we met briefly at the end of season 2. He may be one of the big bads, but I think there might be another big bad. But anyway, let me know what you think of this episode. Feel free to leave comments down below. Let me know what you think. I have links to my social media in the description box: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Also have a link to my other channel above using the pains. If you check that out as well. Also have a link down below to my Patreon. Okay, I want to say a special thank you to my Patreon. Again, I have a link down below to my Patreon as well. My Patreon's only $5 a month. I have tons of content on there, tons of unedited content on there. You'll see the unedited reaction to Stargirl Season 1 on my Patreon. You'll see that on my Patreon if you join. It's only $5 a month, and you can see my unedited reaction to the whole episode, unedited. Okay, so if you follow the link below to the Patreon, you can check it out. Also, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps the channel, and I truly appreciate it. Also, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you know when I upload new content to this channel. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long. Take care.